Lucy Boynton joins us now. Welcome to the sofa. It's so good to see you.
Likewise, thank you.
We both watched the show and we've got to say it looked incredible. The way it was shot, it was beautiful. You looked so good as the character. How was it playing Ruth?
Incredibly intense. It impacted me more profoundly than I could have anticipated or prepared for. I mean, it took me a year to stop grinding my teeth after filming this. It was hard to let go of because, you know, it's a true story, but also it's still very much a present tense epidemic, domestic violence, so it was impossible to let go of any tension and the pain of it all. But it's a privilege to be a part of telling this story.
A lot on your shoulders, a lot of history on your shoulders to deliver right there. She was executed in July 1955, which seems ridiculous. It's only like 60-odd years ago,
Literally.
Isn't it? Like, how unbelievable is that? But can you just explain Ruth to us as a character?
Yeah, she was an incredibly vivacious, ambitious, diligent woman. She became London's youngest club manager, I think at 27, which at a time when society wasn't encouraging women to be businesswomen was remarkable. She was entirely self-made. And then she was charged with the murder of her abusive partner. And I mean, in the 1950s, you couldn't get a divorce processed in fewer than 6 months because it was seen as permanent. So to take care with something so irrevocable. And yet Ruth Ellis was hanged 22 days after she was charged with murder and after a jury deliberated for 14 minutes. So I'm proud to be part of a show that is finally really showing the trial for how it was really carried out and the misogyny and classism that really influenced it, and investigating Ruth as a full woman, as a full spectrum of a person.
Lucy, when you get a job like this, you don't take it on lightly, and do you do all your research before you just say yes, or do you just say yes first and then do all your research? And did you even know anything about Ruth?
I didn't, and I'm so embarrassed to admit that because I mean, as you said, it changed our judicial system here forever.
Yeah.
And it's such a shocking case. But thankfully, the book that this is based on, A Fine Day for a Hanging by Carol Lanley, it was my Bible throughout filming. So I mean, I immediately said yes because it's such an undeniably interesting story. And then the book is so well researched, it's so gripping, and gives such great context to the 1950s and post-war London and the way that we kind of regressed into a traditionalism that was very limiting for women. And so it helped me understand the society that shaped Ruth and that she was really rebelling against.
Yeah, it's so weird talking to you because your character is so different. She's a force to be reckoned with, isn't she? She never saw herself as a victim, and the story wasn't really as it was. There was other people involved in this, wasn't there?
Absolutely, and audiences will see when they watch the show, there were many more people who should have been on trial alongside her, and there were so many elements neglected, and deliberately so, because it didn't fit the story that they wanted to tell about her. And again, the misogyny and classism that was at play there. The fundamental shock was that a working-class woman had taken the life of an upper-class man. So, and in the trial, you know, they refused to admit or acknowledge the extent of his violence because he was an upper echelon of society. So, yeah, so I'm really proud to be a part of this final kind of investigation of the trial.
We actually see the trial and it's actually word for word of the original trial. How was that, getting it perfectly correct? That must have been really stressful.
It was actually really just sickening as a contemporary person sitting there and listening to the way that it played out, and having to listen to, you know, psychiatrists talk about female hysteria as a diagnosis when she was there because of the erratic and violent, hysterical nature of the men in her life. And so it was really painful to think of her sitting there at the mercy of that. And that, I think, explains why she was so reserved, because she had 28 years of experience of the way society treated women like her, and they didn't want her to be the example set for femininity. So they really used her as a kind of political pawn.
Very much so, because she was abused by a lot of men in her life. She was abused by her dad, her husband, and her boyfriend as well. You've portrayed her so well. Thank you for bringing this to light. What I cannot believe is Nigel Havers. So Nigel Havers plays the judge in the show, but the original judge is his grandfather.
Is his granddad, yeah?
Wow.
It was haunting, I think, and also because I think people want to feel this is safely tucked away as a period piece and that we're very different now. But I think having someone on set whose close relative was there and was at the helm of it was yeah, very grounding and very haunting.
He's incredible, he's
Yeah, it must have been so surreal to be actually playing your granddad in such a historical
and
case.
you'd want to get it right, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
You'd want to get it right.
Well, and apparently his grandfather was advocating for Ruth and was writing to politicians to argue that she shouldn't be hanged. So, yeah, there are some people on the right side of history.
Well, I heard in our brief that your dream is to be on Gogglebox. Maybe this is going to get you on Gogglebox.
It's my dream and also my greatest fear because, I mean, that is the set of reviews that I'm most anxiously...
Who would you not want to be, like, critiqued by? I like the brother and sister.
I was about to say Pete and Sophie.
They're so funny.
Because they're so witty, but, like, yeah, you want them to like your show.
They're so funny.
Yeah. And also emotional, so, you know, if you get them, you get them.
Yeah. God, Lucy, you have done so well in this show. You've really portrayed Ruth Ellis and you've done her so much justice. Thank you so much for bringing this a massive piece of history to the forefront.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
At least it's over now. You know what I mean? You can watch it.
Yeah, and it's such a joy to be able to talk about it and share it, and it feels like really practical, pragmatic conversations that need to be had now, so, yeah.
Oh, thank you for joining us, Lucy. Listen,
you.
A Cruel Love of the Ruth Ellis story starts this Wednesday, the 5th of March at 9 p.m. at ITV1 and ITVX. Do not miss it.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
do not. It's one of the best things I've watched. It's Alan Bates versus the Post Office. It's very, very good.
Good prize.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.